Okay, so another key thing that limits business growth is access to markets. And from even the research of Smeda that on the side, Smeda means the small and medium scale development agency, small and medium scale business development agency in Nigeria. So according to their research, access to markets is one of the very key things that limits business growth, especially in sub-Saharan Africa and especially in Nigeria. So when you're talking about access to markets, your investor wants to see if you have been able to find a way to access the right market for your business. And so when you're talking about access to market, what are you looking at? You're looking at the channels that will take your business, your product to the market. So what kind of channels do you want to use? Do you want to take your product to your market through an online platform? Or do you want to do B2B? Are you selling directly to businesses? Or you're doing B2C? Are you selling directly to your customers? So do you have a distribution chain in between? So if you're a manufacturer, okay, so for instance, the company that manufactures this delicious popcorn snack that is very popular, that yellow one called Soyomi, the distribution chain that they've seen, I mean, you see that on the streets, in traffic, you see Soyomi. So that's the kind of distribution chain that they've used. So they probably have directly from the manufacturer to some distributor that will now distribute to the boys that sell on the street. So have you tied this distribution chain? So if that kind of situation, if you're in manufacturing and you want to expand your capacity from say 100 bags per day and you want to grow to 1,000 bags per day, so you need to look at the existing distribution chain and say, would it meet the capacity to, if with my incremental production, will my existing distribution chain be able to cope with it? Because you need to have thought through this before you even go forward for investment. Because when you meet somebody and he says, okay, so how would you sell this additional? Because and you say, no, I'll just sell from the existing, and the person tells you no because you have already saturated that particular. So you need to think about how you're going to sell the additional production basically. So that applies to whether you are manufacturing or you are in retail sales or you are in service distribution. So if you want to increase, you need to think about your market holistically in that light. So what kind of channels are you selling your products through, and then the distribution, you need to think of what you have existing, can it match your incremental production? And then if you don't even have anything existing, you need to explore different possibilities and make sure that you have everything tied together. Another thing that you think about is the risk. I mean, an investor wants to ask you that what can go wrong? What could possibly go wrong in this business? So you need to have thought through it, that what can go wrong and what can go right. So how do you ensure that? Okay, so let me say something. In business, risk is very important. There has to be an element of risk in the business, or else it will not even be a business per se, because if it wasn't risky, probably everybody will be doing it. So there's some sort of financial risk that you're going into for you to commit a huge sum of money into a business in the first place. So that's the risk that is in it. So there's risk that it may not work or it may work. So what are the possible risks? Have you thought about this risk? And it's not that you want to eliminate those risks, because if you are able to eliminate the risk, then it might not be profitable at the end. So what you're trying to do is to mitigate and to reduce and find ways to overcome the risk. So the risk will come in diverse forms. I mean, there are business risks, there are operational risks. So can your machine go bad easily, or access to suppliers? So if you are dependent on your product, maybe your production is dependent on a static. So for instance, somebody that is producing tissue paper, she may not have the machines. So what she probably does is buy the rolls, buy the paper, and take it to a company, a factory where they have the machines, and you tell them, cut to a certain size, package for me, put my label in, and how I'll go and sell. So the risk that she will be thinking of is that if she's only tied to a certain manufacturing company, what if they have reached their capacity and they're not able to take on our own production? Would that reduce our own additional increment in production? Then the risk will even be staffing risk. I mean, if you are in a certain, so I remember my interview with the chocolate processing factory, and one of the things she mentioned was that because what she does is highly skill intensive, so the kind of problems or challenges that she'll be thinking about is the staffing risk. To get more people needs additional and incremental training every time. So the staff she has to make sure that she's in tune with them and she continues to train them. So the risk will come in different angles depending on what line of business you are in and then what angle of the business you are. But the most important thing is for you to have thought about this and to look for ways to mitigate those risks. So that's the key important things there.